fees must fall, hashtag to the national shutdown, Johannesburg must fall hashtags. Social media, and especially Twitter, proved to be a powerful weapon in this uprising against increased university fees across South Africa. Some have even compared it to the Arab Spring in the Middle East, although that's a bit of a stretch. And a few years ago, where social media also played its part as citizens forced those in power to listen to them. Now, to help us understand what role sites like Twitter and other social media platforms played this week in mobilizing students in the protests that we've seen, we are joined by the Managing Director of Media Monitoring Company, Roy Africa, Tonya Khoury. Good morning, Tonya. Always nice to have you with us.
Good morning, Evan. It's always great to be here. And what a week.
What a week. Now, Tonya, you know that I'm a very anti-selectivism, the kind of activism where you just create a hashtag and you know, out of that nothing really happens for the greater good.
Yes.
But you know, people take selfies and post it and you know, look at me. It's that kind of world.
Yes.
This is a little bit different. For the first time, we've seen real activism unite underneath hashtags here in South Africa.
You're so right, Evan. Like, we've seen things like Bring Back Our Girls doing absolutely nothing at all, but Fees Must Fall has managed to unite campuses across the country, and the impact internationally is really big. I heard reports this morning from London and from the States about students also joining in solidarity across the world using exactly the same hashtag. So it's been a unifier, and it's got people on their feet.
Just show us the numbers here, because this is important, you know, in the sort of news sense, how this worked here in South Africa. Now, Fees Must Fall, news versus social. Oscar, of course, was in the news, and I think for the first time, Oscar has been kind of kicked off the agenda this week by this real pressing issue for young South Africans.
If you'd asked me earlier this week what would be the biggest story, I'd have said Oscar Pistorius, hands down.
Yeah.
And Fees Must Fall over almost this is a 7-day period. In news media, almost 50% of our coverage is coming under Fees Must Fall. But if we switch that to social media on the right of the screen, almost 75% of the coverage of our social media conversation is Fees Must Fall, dwarfing the Rugby World Cup with the semi-final coming up.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Dwarfing Oscar. And what is prominent is Blade and Zamande coming out of that data really strongly, specifically in news media and social media.
Now, the Higher Education Minister, Sir Blade and Zamande, has found himself kind of in the middle of the whole thing. I see he shows up periodically.
Yes.
What's the general sentiment around him then?
I think there's quite a few focuses coming out of the data. Blade and Zamande are really one of the very big ones. President Jacob Zuma, a big focus. I mean, 37% of the theme is focused on him, 32% on the ANC itself. And what's interesting is to see the ANC Must Fall hashtag being associated with the Fees Must Fall hashtag. Dlamini coming through there. The arrests so much smaller than the call for political intervention.
I wanted to ask you about that kind of what I call people jumping on the bandwagon.
Yes.
We've seen a lot of political parties suddenly this week all jump on the bandwagon.
Yes.
You know, everyone's taking pot shots at the ANC in this instance. The jumping on the bandwagon element of this on social media, we've seen the DA creating how much money they'll save everywhere, and they will make sure people get free education. In Parliament, we saw political parties jump up with slogans saying, we'll give free education. It's easy to say that. It's a different thing to live it, isn't it?
Well, isn't it? I mean, that's what's been told in the past as well. And look where we are today. So very easy to talk. It's very difficult to walk. And I think that sentiment is also coming through in social media. It's almost been ignored, if you like. It's more like, well, what are we doing right now? And you know, Eben, how interesting it is. Every news station I turn on, every TV station I watch is all this story.
Yes.
But when you look at news media versus social media, news media comes in at less than 1% of the coverage of Fees Must Fall. The rest is all social. It's us talking on the ground.
Yes, and that's in a way how the world of media has changed. But and also it gives you the kind of platform to go global now.
Yes.
Just tell us about how this has played out. If we can come back and just look at how this has played out in the international media, this uprising that's happened in South Africa, this protest by young people, Tonya?
So, I mean, if we looked at the top 10 countries, obviously South Africa leader of the pack. On the right-hand side of the screen there, almost 50% of the coverage coming out of SA. But straight after them is the USA, the United Kingdom, Australia. I mean, it's global.
Yeah.
So global that if you look on the left-hand side of the screen, it's what we call a heat map.
Yes.
And here you can see, as it glows red, where the traffic is coming from. And it's literally a worldwide story.
Absolutely. It's incredible. That's the world of social media we live in now. Tonya, don't go away. Just stay in your seat. I want to go to Anine because Anine's got a lot of stuff. You know, Anine is sort of the grave digger in the social media world. She goes there and she unearths all the sort of gems that's doing around, all the hashtags and pictures and videos. And you've got quite a bit today, Anine.
Well, Evan, like you've just said, it's all coming together for the Fees Must Fall movement today. But we're not actually particularly seeing the Fees Must Fall hashtag trending this morning. We're seeing the union building trending this morning because we know thousands of students will be marching to the buildings this morning to be addressed by the president. But even like we've also just mentioned, it has had a global impact. If we can start with the tweets that have been sent, we can look at New York. Tomorrow, actually, posters have been tweeted. There we go, for a gathering in New York. So definitely, like we said, the opposite of slacktivism. People aren't just adding their voices from across the world. They are actually organizing gatherings for this movement. Then we can go on to London. Today we know thousands of students or students at least, are marching to the South African High Commission. That's the poster that's been shared on social media for those gathering in London. And then even down under, the University of Melbourne have tweeted photos in support of the hashtag.
Do we have activists in Australia, really?
Even we're all united in the world of social media. We can all unite around the same cause, and it just goes to show what a powerful weapon social media is, and this week has proved it to us. There we go, students of Melbourne, and then there we have them, they're also using that same hashtag, showing that they are supporting the South African students. And then even if we just take a look at this morning, that's Griselda. We just crossed to her a bit earlier. She's on that bus, tweeting from the bus, so you can follow her hashtag at Griselda Lewis to get the latest from what's happening this morning in that march to the union buildings.
Yeah, there you see the picture of the buses. Griselda, as always, she's right in the thick of it. We'll be crossing live to her periodically today as students are being ferried into the capital. Tonya, just to wrap it all up, what is your expectation then to go? Where is this going to go from today? The union buildings, where is it going to go to?
I think we're looking at a media giant in any way. I mean, we've watched this type of story grow and grow, but this one has been, it's been quick and globally it's stretched so quickly that I expect by the end of the week there'll be nothing else on the charts. And I think, more importantly, it's going to make a difference.
Well, thank you for joining us today. Tonya Kuri is the Managing Director of Roy Africa. She always gives us the juice, what the trends are, what's happening on social media, what people are talking about. Thanks to Anine as well. Anine will be back with us a little bit later. Well, we're going to be talking about this throughout the fabric of the entire show today. The entire day on this channel, actually, we're going to be in the capital. We're going to give you the outcomes of the meetings of the president with student leaders and, of course, university management. Now, I can tell you,